Alrighty, it's me again. We're on page 2 now, which is questions 3 and 4 in your review packet. Remember, you can hit pause anytime you need to slow me down and go over the problem. All right, so the big thing you're going to be asked on this question is to actually use the definition of the derivative to find this derivative. What that means is if you simply use the rule and go, oh, it's 2 times 2, 4x minus 5, you're going to earn 0 points. So the definition of the derivative is that limit definition, the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus the function itself all over h. You have to use this and show all of the work using this in order to get what we already know is going to be 4x minus 5 as an answer. The other important thing is writing the limit as h approaches 0 is part of the problem. And you've got to continue to write the limit as h approaches 0 until the moment you take 0 and plug it in for h. You can't do that as long as h is in the denominator. Okay, biggest mistake kids make is they don't put the x plus h in for all the x's. You've got x here twice. Your function is a trinomial. So you're going to be doing a trinomial minus a trinomial. So you're going to write the limit as h approaches 0, and you're going to use this whole function, 3 parts, the trinomial, plugging x plus h in for each of the x's. So 2 times x plus h squared minus 5 times x plus h minus 1. So 2x squared minus 5x minus 1 with x plus h in there. Then you're going to subtract the function as it is. 2x squared minus 5x minus 1, all of that over h. All right, that is the hardest part, I think. And then you're going to want to FOIL this x plus h. This is x plus h times x plus h. So you're going to square that binomial and then distribute the 2. So I have to continue to write the limit as h approaches 0. This gives me x squared plus 2xh plus h squared, and then I'm going to distribute that 2. So I have 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared. Then I'm going to distribute my negative 5, negative 5x minus 5h minus 1. And then this negative distributes. So I have negative 2x squared plus 5x plus 1. All of that is over h. I cannot put 0 in for h because I still have an h in the denominator, so I have to continue to write this until then. Now we're at the point where your first self-check comes in. This entire trinomial on the end here should cancel. I'm looking to cancel 2x squared, 5x, and 1. So there's my 1 with my negative 1, positive 5x, negative 5x, negative 2x squared, positive 2x squared. So all of that canceled off with something. All right, I still have the limit as h approaches 0, and I'm going to collect what's left, and everything left should have an h in the numerator. All right, your next self-check is you're going to factor out that h, leaving you with 4x plus 2h minus 5. And this is where the denominator will cancel. It's with that h that's in every term in the numerator. So I am going to write this one more time. What I'm going to be evaluating is the limit as h approaches 0 of what's left, 4x plus 2h minus 5. So now this 0 is going to go in for h. I no longer have to write that because I've done it. I plugged it in. What do I have left? I have the 4x plus 0 minus 5. So that means my derivative, we knew it was going to be this, is the function 4x minus 5. Have to show me all of this work using the definition or you earn no points. Okay, then you're going to have a section in your final where you're just asked to differentiate. Doesn't say using the definition. So now you can use the rules. You're going to multiply by the exponent, subtract 1 from the exponent. You're just using your rules of differentiation now. So you end up with 12x squared minus 4x minus 6. In this next one, you could do the product rule. That would be fine. I think this one is worth just taking a minute to actually FOIL and getting a nice, easy polynomial. So if you distribute the 5x and then distribute the 2, you will end up with 30 x to the 4th plus 15x minus 12x cubed minus 6. And now you can just use those rules again. So the 30 times the 4, you're going to end up with 120x cubed plus 15 minus 36x squared plus 0. And technically, we should write this in descending powers. But it's not wrong if you don't. Now, this next one, you are definitely going to need to do product rule. You have F and you have G. Okay, so your rule is F prime G plus G prime F. So I want to take the derivative of this first factor. Constant multiplier rule says keep the 3 and then take the derivative of e to the u. The derivative of e to the u is e to the u times the derivative of that u. All right, so that's f prime. Now I need g, the ln of 4x cubed, and then I'm going to go plus g prime. So the derivative of ln u is 1 over u, so 1 over 4x cubed, times the derivative of the 4x cubed, which is 12x squared. That was g prime, and now I need f, 3e to the negative 2x. All right, so taking this negative 2 and this 3 together, we end up with negative 6 e to the negative 2x times ln 4x cubed plus this 12 and 4 are going to cancel to give us 3, x squared over x cubed gives us an x in the denominator, and that's going to be times the 3e to the negative 2x. All right, you've got a triple chain in D. You've got stuff to the fourth power. Then you have the cosine of stuff, and then you have the stuff. If you're having trouble seeing that, write it as the cosine of 3x squared plus 2, all raised to the fourth. And then it's a little bit easier to see. So we're going to deal just with the fourth by bringing that 4 out in front. So multiply by the exponent, keep the inside, cosine 3x squared plus 2, subtract 1 from the exponent. So we took care of the fourth. Now we're going to take care of the cosine. We're going to chain on the derivative of cosine, which is negative sine, but we're not changing the angle, and we're not doing anything with the angle. We're simply taking the derivative of the cosine, which is negative sine, and keeping the angle. Then we're going to chain on the derivative of the angle, that's the inside, which is 6x. You can leave it like that on the final. Don't do any kinds of algebra and mess up your answer. But let's notice, since it's not the final, we're multiplying a 6 and a negative 1 and a 4 and that x. So I would pull that out in front as negative 24x. And then I have the cosine cubed of 3x squared plus 2. That's what this is, the cosine cubed. And then I pulled that negative out in front, so then I just have times the positive sign of 3x squared plus 2. All right. Letter E is a quotient rule. The top is F, the bottom is G, and your quotient rule is F prime G minus G prime F all over G squared. All right, derivative of the top. 7 times 3 is 21, so it's 21x squared minus 2. That's F prime times G, 3x squared plus 4, minus the derivative of the bottom, which is just 6x, times the top, 7x cubed minus 2x. All of that over the bottom squared. Take the derivative, leave it. For the last one, you're going to want to write this in powers. So this is x to the fourth, and then this is the denominator of the exponent. So you have x to the 4/3 plus that 7x. This is 3 over x to the 2/5. So let's just move that to the numerator as a positive. So 3 is already on top, and now I'm going to move x to the negative 2/5. Put it in this form so that you can use the power rule. Bring the exponent out in front, 4/3, keep the base, subtract 1 from the exponent. So I'm subtracting 3/3. 4/3 minus 3/3 is 1/3. The derivative of 7x is 7. Then I've got minus 3 I'm going to keep that base, but I'm going to take this exponent and move it out in front. So I'm multiplying by -2/5, keeping that x, and subtracting 1 again, subtracting 5/5. -2/5 minus 5/5 is -7/5. All right, I've got negative, and negative is a positive. So I end up with 4/3 x to the third plus 7 plus 6/5. X to the -7/5. Again, on the final, leave it. But just so we can see the correct answer, since it was given to us in radical form, we would have 4/3 cube root of x. That's what this is. Plus 7. Plus 6/5. This is going to be now, this is a negative exponent, so move it to the denominator as a positive, and we end up with the 5th root of x to the 7th. 5th root x to the 7th on the bottom. Okay, that was page 2.